Is this the new norm? Could you imagine just a month ago if I was to walk into the store with this on my face and wearing gloves? They'd hit the panic button. They would hit the panic button because they're thinking, man, this guy's going to rob us. I'm going to put this on pause a minute. All right, I'm back. Had to take the bandana off. This was a gift from Randy Weaver, a 50th anniversary Woodstock bandana. I was hanging it on my wall displaying it, but over the last week or so, I've been using it as a mask. So thank you, Randy. It really came in handy. But could you just imagine, just a month and a half, a month ago, walking in with their faces covered, freaking gloves on, man. People hitting the panic button, oh, this guy's going to rob me. It's crazy times out there, guys. They said it's only going to get worse over the next couple weeks. I don't want to be a bummer, so I'm going to stop talking about it, but be safe, get everything you need, and stay inside and listen to music and love the one you're with, right? This is a thread that Chris did from Musically Obsessed. It's the top 10 hard rock or metal albums from 1970 to 1979. So that's a 10-year period. Going to start this off with 1970. And I've got the album, but I'm showing the CD. Led Zeppelin 3. This is from their box set. Really cool box set. It's 2 CDs inside of each one. On this particular one, it's Led Zeppelin 3 and 4. Zoso is what they call it. But that's my favorite album from 1970 as far as hard rock. I'm going Led Zeppelin 3 for 1970. 1971 was really a hard one to choose from because there was so much cool stuff. Because Masters of Reality came out. This is a reissue from a couple years ago. Gatefold album this is. I won't take it out because you've all seen Masters of Reality before. Also, Alice Cooper, Killer. I mean, you can't pick between those two. And I want to throw this one in. Leafhound. I did not know this music growing up. I just got turned on to this about a year or two ago from the VC. Kind of sounds like Deep Purple. I had first heard they were a psych band, psych rock, but they're kind of more bluesy rock, a lot like Deep Purple. And I think Mike from Jam on Vinyl has had a copy of this and talked about it. Leafhound, incredibly cool music, extremely underrated. It's actually worth a buy. You get it for like $20, guys. It's good, hard rocking, just rock and roll, man. Alrighty, 1972. And we're going, maybe that Black Sabbath was 72. See, I'm all confused now. Make sure I know what I'm doing here. This is it, Black Sabbath. Another Black Sabbath album from 1972. This and Masters of Reality, the one I just showed, are my 2 favorite Sabbath albums. Black Sabbath, Volume 4, representing 1972. Houses of the Holy, Led Zeppelin, again from that box set. The flip side is Presence on this particular CD. But I'm going with Houses of the Holy, Led Zeppelin. It's a really cool album. Absolutely great listen. And again, it came out of the box set. In 1974. Now this is the only album I own by this band. And it's really the only album I think I care to own. I don't like their 90s stuff. They really kind of disappeared in the 80s for the most part. I'm talking Aerosmith. Get Your Wings, full-blown rock and roll, that bluesy feel. They do a version of Train Kept A Rollin'. That's just apt. And to be honest, when I was like in 6th grade, 7th grade, that was the only version I knew. I thought it was their song until I heard the Yardbirds. Same Old Song and Dance, Lord of This World, or Lord of Things, excuse me. Excellent hard rock album. Definitely a good one to own. Not like their 90s Lovin' an Elevator and stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with that. To each his own. Get Your Wings, Aerosmith. In my opinion, their best album they ever did. And that was 1974. And this is one I was hesitant about doing because there was other albums I could have shown. Hold on one second. Okay, thanks for waiting. Appreciate your patience. I'm going with Uncle Ted, Ted Nugent. Again, it's kind of like Aerosmith. This is the only album I have by him. It's a solid rock and roll album. Stranglehold, fierce guitar player. Ted is what he is. I mean, we all know his reputation, and he's pretty much completely destroyed his credibility almost, and his legacy. But Ted Nugent, solid rock and roll album from 1975. 76, let's see what we got going on here. Physical Graffiti from the box set. Fantastic album all the way through. And I don't know if you're like me, but when I put an album on, I'm not one of these guys that are going to skip around. With CDs, it made it easier, especially with the remote control. You could skip tracks. With the album, man, if I put it on, it's got to be a solid album for me to listen to all the way through. Sometimes if I have a lot of energy, and I may put it in either one song and play. But this album, you don't have to do that. It's just a great album. Physical Graffiti. Showing a lot of CDs here. I guess because it was the 70s, right? Going back to 1977, Rocket to Russia. Just straight out rock and roll. Call it punk, call it garage rock, whatever you want to do. These American boys just kicked freaking ass. Solid album by the Ramones. And it's my favorite album from that year. Right now it is. I mean, that could change week to week, day to day, but solid album from their box set, the Ramones. 78, got some AC/DC. If you want blood, you got it. Look at that cover. This is freaking rock and roll. This was music that parents did not like. Oh my God, look at that album cover. Just great freaking rock and roll album. A lot of times they don't get the respect they deserve because they just, I mean, they were what they were. They weren't real technical. They weren't like Yes or UFO. They just rocked. That's it. That's all they did. They rock and rolled. 1979, I was going to go with Highway to Hell, but I just showed AC/DC. And yeah, I just showed the Ramones too. But I'm going with It's Alive, the Ramones live album, It's Alive, from 1979. This is a really good UK pressing of it. In fact, I'm not even sure if it was pressed in the US. I'm sure somebody will let me know. If you could, I'd love to know if it was actually. I know it was released in America, but I don't think there's any US pressings. The Ramone, It's Alive, to top off my list from 70 to 79. Like I said, I saw this from Chris's video, Musically Obsessed. He picked some really good ones. And I'm curious to know about yours. It all changes what your definition of hard rock is. Some people consider some of Skynyrd's stuff hard rock. So I'd love to see your video response, man. Your 1970 to 1979 your favorite hard rock or metal, favorite jam music from that era. Peace, everybody. Be safe and take care of yourselves.